after James bringing up Winnipeg, that does remind me, Winnipeg, they want to make a push. They have a great goalie. They have one of the best forwards in the game, but their defense sucks.
They have great pieces.
I wouldn't say sucks.
Yeah. So about a year ago, apparently, according to an insider, that Winnipeg offered a trade to Buffalo, Nikolai Ehlers for Rasmus Ristolainen. And Buffalo said no.
Fools on Buffalo, the way he's been playing this year.
Yeah.
He has more points than Kyle Connor.
So I do wonder, now that Buffalo is down and they're going to be selling, does Winnipeg circle back to try to get Ristolainen or Montour?
Ristolainen. I mean, if you look at their lines, it'd be Tucker Pullman who they could pull out, because Ristolainen's right-handed, correct?
Yeah. Big right shot defenseman.
Exactly. So then they could do Morrissey and Ristolainen, and that's a lot better than Pullman.
Morrissey and Ristolainen, holy crap.
I don't know what Winnipeg would give up.
Definitely not Ehlers the way he's been playing this year.
They're not going to give up Ehlers. 100% not Ehlers. Shifley, no. Kyle Connor, no. Stastny, probably not, because he's a one-year rental, playing well in the second line, no point. Pierre-Luc Dubois, I don't think so. Kopp's probably not enough. And then Wheeler's hurt right now, and they won't trade Wheeler. So
do you give away a draft pick and a prospect for Laine? Or for Ristolainen?
Because Risto's signed for a year after this, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's a young right shot, physical.
Although he's a UFA, right?
Yeah.
That's something you have to be careful with Winnipeg, is just when you're bringing players in, are they going to want to re-sign at the end? We've seen it in the past. Paul Stastny got brought back, which was fantastic to see. But yeah, if let's say they had a trade where they're not giving up big pieces, draft picks, and they can get Ristolainen back, I would want them to still have that discussion with hey, how would you feel about staying around here after? Because if they just lose him after giving up good draft picks and they don't win, it's going to look like a big fail on their part. But
Winnipeg has no cap space.
Yeah, they have none.
So they would have to give some money back.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, too, is where you could see or Prout, probably butchering his name. He makes a lot of money and doesn't produce very well and it's done at the end of the year. So maybe you throw him in and then some draft picks.
The only issue is if you're throwing in
enough, though.
If you're throwing in a bum, if you're please take Perreault, then you're going to have to sweeten the pot a bit more, too, right?
Well, I'm going to disagree and say not a bum, because he's been playing third line this year, and he's on the penalty kill. So then, yes, he's overpaid. He's overpaid. But for Winnipeg to then give him up completely, then they're going to have to replace that third liner, which their third line's been pretty good this year. And then they're still going to have to give more to see if they can even get the cap space to get Ristolainen. And then they might only have him for a year in 20 games, not even, if he doesn't want to stay.
You said not Stastny, but Ristolainen only makes $5.4 million. Stastny makes 6.5.
Yeah.
And he was signed because they wanted to have Laine to have a good center. But they've traded Laine for Dubois, who's a center.
He's been playing really well this year, though. So I don't know. I mean, obviously improving their defense helps, but this just back to when you replace the third liner guy, then who do they put on the second line to replace him? I know Wheeler's out right now, but when he's back, that will help. But who do you replace on the second line?
I just think when you look at their defense, it's just so poor that if they genuinely want to be considered contenders, they have to make a move. I don't know if Ristolainen's the move, but a move needs to be made.
Well, here's another thing to consider, too. There's a lot of defensemen going to the UFA market. And the playoffs are going to be weird. You're playing your own division for the first two rounds. I think with how Winnipeg's done against their own division, they might be okay, we're content. We can make a cup final, see how we stack up in a playoff series. Then we'll make a move.
Let's do nothing crazy and then use that $6 million that was on Stastny, and I believe it was 4.5 or 4.25 as well on Pro. Take that. Get a defenseman. I know it's hard to get UFAs in Winnipeg, but maybe that's
another
their
thing
game
you got to
plan.
think about. You got to, who's going to want to go to Winnipeg.
Exactly.
But then at that
would
point,
Risto even want to go? Would Risto even want to go? Does he have a no trade?
I don't think he does, but if they went to Risto hey, we're thinking about trading too, he already says yes.
He just wants to get out of Buffalo. He's wait, this
joke's on you.
Yeah.
I've already sold my house.